What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade, and in today's video, my friends, I want to take some time and answer some more questions you sent the channel in regards to playing Countdown. And one thing I want to make sure I mention is this is a video truly designed for new and returning players. If you've been playing Countdown non-stop, you already know these things. However, I've been getting a lot of messages asking certain questions like, what should you do if you keep getting booted from a group if you try to join and people see you have a low shade level, or how does the whole targeted loot thing work in regards to named items, because sometimes it doesn't match up. So today I wanted to answer as many as I can. Now, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. And remember, we are currently having a giveaway for a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe here or follow on Twitter, and the winner will be announced on October 2nd of this year. So the first thing I'd like to go over in the video is how to join a group for Countdown, especially for those players who are at a lower shade level. Now, as all of you know by now, you do have multiple ways to join a group. Now, the first thing I do before I try any matchmaking whatsoever is I open up my map, hover over Countdown mode, and then I can choose my targeted loot accordingly, depending on whatever I want to farm for. Now, when it comes to matchmaking itself, like I said a moment ago, you do have multiple options. You can just go to Countdown right here, hit matchmaking, or you can also start a group and then have people join your group. Now, I recommend for those of you that have a lower shade level, start your own Countdown group, call for backup, and go from there. Because I heard from a lot of you out there that when you are trying to join a group and your shade level is low, you wind up getting kicked out, and that totally sucks. Now, the footage I'm showing you initially is from my PlayStation character, so all I'm going to do is hover over Countdown mode. I'm going to press triangle. That is going to open up the Countdown menu, and at that point, all I'm going to do is create a new countdown. Once I do that, it gives me the option of finding more agents, and at that point I am the squad leader. That way no one can give me the boot. So my friends, those of you that have been getting kicked from groups, this is a way so you can definitely guarantee you can run a round of Countdown. One thing I'd like to point out really quick is if you notice at the bottom it says, it gives me the prompt to start Countdown by holding down, the square button. So you need to make sure if you are a group leader, once you have the group, once it's full, make sure you start Countdown because everyone is waiting on you to start the thing. Now, there happen to be a few details I'd like to go over in regards to matchmaking and people who've gotten kicked from groups and things like that. And it's funny because, I typically play on Xbox and my shade level is in the 2400s, and here I'm at shade level 27, and honestly, since I've been playing on PlayStation, I've been booted probably about 15 times. And to be honest with you, I totally get it. I mean, if you're a group leader, you want to make sure you have a group that can actually get through Countdown. However, in my opinion, if you're group leader and you notice one or two agents that have a lower shade level, I say let them play. Chances are it's not going to mess you up, and also with the new proficiency and having a certain level of expertise, they may be more powerful than you're actually aware of. And again, for those of you that do have the low shade level, once again, I recommend start your own group and you should be good to go. Now, if you happen to worry, maybe your character isn't strong enough, one thing I've noticed about Countdown, and please let me know what you think in the section down below, but I've noticed that everyone is pretty damn aggressive when they play this game mode, you know what I mean? I mean, everyone wants to be the hero, so if you are a little hesitant because you're worried about your character isn't strong enough, chances are the NPCs will be taken out before you even get there. The next thing I'd like to talk about is a question a lot of you sent the channel, and that has to do with, is it better to play in a group of 4 or everyone rolled together in a squad of 8? And in my opinion, what I try to do is, at least initially, I like having all agents together when you're trying to take out those countermeasures, because that's where the hunters are, and if you're not in the location where the hunters are taken out, you wind up missing out on getting some extra loot, XP as well. So what I try to do is this: when the map first opens, I see what, countermeasures closest to my group, and that's what I target for. However, I also look to see where the other subgroup is, and if that subgroup is close to mine, I'm going to target their countermeasure, hoping my squad follows me as well. That way we go to all 3 countermeasures together. That way no one misses out on any potential stuff. Now, typically what happens is when you load into the game, one group is on one side of the map, one group is on the other, each hits a certain countermeasure, and you wind up meeting in the middle. Then you go to the objectives, then you go to the encounters and the main objectives themselves. However, if you have the opportunity to stick together, I definitely recommend that. Finally, my friends, I want to talk about when should you call for the chopper at the end of Countdown, as that was one of the most commonly asked questions I got over the last week. And when it comes to that, you really really want to be, one thing I talk about in a lot of my videos is your situational awareness. And when it comes to calling for the chopper, it's the exact same thing. So you can see here my countdown is at 124. There are still hunters present. We want to make sure we take them out. So at this point, there is no need to call for the chopper whatsoever. Now you'll notice at this point, all the hunters are taken out. There are no NPCs on the map. Still no one fires the flare, and that is a group that is aware of what's going on, because at this point we still have over a minute. There are going to be other NPCs that spawn, therefore other opportunities to get more loot. Not only that, but in my opinion, this is one of the most enjoyable aspects about Countdown, is the very end where the NPCs, drop from the helicopter, and it is fish in a barrel. You can light them up. It's so much fun, and still, we have 48 seconds left. So what I recommend doing is someone's going to pop that flare, usually around 10 seconds, and that's more than enough time. A quick recap for those of you that are just getting into Countdown. Once the flare is fired, you're going to have, 30 seconds until the chopper shows up, and then after the chopper shows up, you have an additional 30 seconds to board, so you will have another minute before you need to get on the thing. But again, pay attention to the timer because you do want to extract in time. Anyway, getting back to the footage, you can see in the upper left corner there are 18 seconds left, and it says signal the extract helicopter. Now what I'm doing is I'm looking at the timer. I'm also keeping aware of the other, agents around me. I see the guy next to me fires the flare. I know we're good to go, and at that point it's just continuing to shoot NPCs and hopefully getting more loot. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I want to talk about named items dropping from hunters or other NPCs, but typically hunters, obviously in this game mode, it is the best way to get named items in the game. And a lot of you are reaching out wondering, why is it that, let's say if you have Uzina as your, let's say you're trying to get the closer body armor, which is one of my favorite body armors in the game, and you have Uzina picked as the body armor as your targeted loot, but you find that you're getting every other named item in the book except for the named body armor, the closer. Now the thing is, when it comes to the hunters, they will drop random things. They will drop SMGs, they will drop ARs, they will drop sniper rifles, they will drop, the named items is not going to be linked to the targeted loot, so it's all luck of the draw when you're trying to find something. Now typically what happens is this: the hunters will drop a named item, and they'll also drop an item that you have chosen as your targeted loot. So for instance, the other day, I had shotguns as the targeted loot. It's actually in the footage of a build I put together, but I wound up having the shotgun as the targeted loot, and every single named item wasn't a shotgun. I didn't get a tsunami or a mop. I wound up getting, Zero F's backpack. I got the closer and things like that. Now throughout the entire run, I got a ton of shotguns because again, that's the targeted loot. But when it comes to the named items, they are random, my friends, but keep farming Countdown. I cannot stress enough how it is the most efficient way to get named gear in the game. And as I start to wrap this video up, the final thing I want to mention today is for those of you that have not jumped into Countdown, you need to farm this game mode. I cannot stress it enough. Do not be worried about the fact that you may not have a build together, or like I said earlier in the video or in a previous video, the fact that you may have no idea what's going on and you're just running around like a crazy person. Just do that. Follow everyone else, because I promise you, you're going to be getting so much amazing loot. It is worth your time. So again, my friends, jump into the game mode. Most of you know by now that one of my favorite aspects about putting these videos together is the family that we have at the channel. So if you have any tips or tricks you want to pass along to new and returning players, please leave them in the comments section, because the main goal is to help out as many people as we can. Like I said at the beginning of this thing, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, you could hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.